I am John DeVore. Welcome to the channel. It has been a long time since I've made a video for the channel. Things have been very busy, but there was one video that I wanted to make. I knew I wanted to make, and I've been thinking about it a little bit. Sinéad O'Connor was only a few days younger than me. It's not really rational, but somehow that sort of, at least for me, that made me feel closer to her, even though I was technically no closer to her than I am to Robert Plant. Her first record she recorded when she was 20, and it came out in '87, just about a year before I graduated from RISD. And that is The Lion and the Cobra. Some of you may be wondering about this record jacket, and there's an interesting story there too. I didn't the first LP I bought of The Lion and Cobra looked like this, with a sweet little 20-year-old Sinéad O'Connor, maybe contemplating some depths, but certainly pretty and non-scary. So this was the original cover. This was the cover that was released in most of the world. But when the record execs in the US saw that, they said, well, do you have a cover that makes her look prettier and sweeter? And so in the US and in Canada, we got this one. I feel like a lot has been said about Sinéad O'Connor in the past week or so. I don't know what I can add to that. This record is an amazing rock record. It really is. It's an astonishing debut album. Astonishing even more so in light of her being 20. And she wrote all of the songs on here. The power, expressiveness, the sort of terrifyingly unvarnished, unedited emotional directness, but it's also intellectual directness. Sinéad O'Connor never, but certainly starting with her first record, she never camouflaged or hid or obscured anything that she was saying in her music or in her day-to-day life, as far as I can tell. She recorded this record while she was pregnant with her first child. It's just, there are so many ways that make this an astounding record, aside from the record itself. And it is an astounding record. Very, very, just an amazing, amazing record. And I wanted to talk about the first two records of hers. So here we are. There's the second record, and here clearly you can see the record executives in their C-suite saying, wow, this Sinéad O'Connor, she's really good, she's really talented. We're going to sell a lot of her records, but we need to make her look more generically beautiful and pretty. We need to make her look less edgy. And so they managed to take a photograph of Sinéad O'Connor, with her gorgeous, lovely, gigantic, placid eyes, not showing her shaved head, not letting her make any weird expressions, not showing any of her tattoos. And so there you go. There's a picture of Sinéad O'Connor's eyes. You know, it's a lovely picture. She's a lovely looking woman in this. So this is 1990, so she's 23, 24 in this here. And she looks like, you know, at this point, Sinéad O'Connor has sort of beamed down onto our planet like some sort of a Martian supermodel. Big bald head, giant eyes, tiny mouth, really sort of a classic Martian supermodel. This record is so different from The Lion and Cobra, and it's just as good, maybe even better. Again, she's writing all of this stuff It's significantly more innovative. That is not to say that the first record is not innovative. It's a great rock record, alternative rock record, but on here there's real funk as well. I Want Your Hands on Me is just has an amazing funky sort of soul groove, and her powerful voice on there is incredibly direct and sexually frank. I'm sure it scared a lot of people, but they had no idea what was coming. So the certainly the song that everyone most knows on this record, the record is "I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got." Nothing Compares to You is that Prince song that was her number one hit. I originally thought that Prince had written it for her, but I don't think he did, because he released a recording of it before this came out. So I actually think this was Sinead O'Connor choosing to do it. I don't even know. I should have checked that out before rolling on this video. But that's not even in my top 3 songs on this record, honestly. She's pushing a lot of envelopes in a lot of different directions. So there's a bunch of string arrangements on this record that don't feel stupid. There's a couple of moments on Feel So Different that start to feel like Jeff Lynne ELO bits, but she pulls it off, and overall it's an exquisite. I really seldom do I feel like truly orchestrated rock, meaning classically orchestrated rock. I seldom do I feel like it works. This is one of the absolute best examples of it that I know of. It's really beautiful, and maybe it's because her voice has so much power that she really is able to sing with a symphony orchestra behind her and kind of keep track. I think it's a string orchestra, but either way, massed strings. I Am Stretched on Your Grave is, I guess it's an English translation of an epic Irish poem. So she didn't write this, but she did the arrangement, and she essentially just put it down over a looped sample of a James Brown drum beat with bits here and there of Irish fiddling, and it's really extraordinary. Very stripped down and minimalist, and yet it works beautifully. And it's kind of interesting, there's just a month or so after this hits the streets, those guys, what are they, DNA, released their remix of the Suzanne Vega song. Dun, 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 dun. Can't remember what the song's. Tom's Diner, of course. But that was after this. She did that first, and there's a lot of similarities between I Am Stretched on Your Grave and the DNA remix of Tom's Diner. Powerful women singing with beautiful voice about important subject matter, stripped down with a simple beat under it. Interesting. Anyway, the Sinead O'Connor one came first. Black Boys on Mopeds. It's one of the greatest songs in the canon, honestly, in my opinion. Magnificently written, recorded, and arranged. The arrangement's really remarkable. Powerful, and it is about a black man who was killed by cops in the UK for stealing, quote unquote, stealing his own moped. And that right there in the liner notes is a picture of his parents mourning him, and that's him there, that photograph, this photograph of him. Incredibly powerful. That song is really astonishing. The Emperor's New Clothes is another great one. Three Babies is another favorite of mine on this. Just, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got, the very last track, is fully a cappella, and that is O'Connor showing us the power of her voice. The Last Day of Our Acquaintance, You Cause As Much Sorrow. Every one of her songs on these first 2 records essentially is about her. They are very direct. They're not monologues either. They're like conversations, and you are on the receiving end to some extent of these conversations. Obviously, except for, but even including Black Boys on Mopeds, because she's singing it in very first person form. I don't think there's ever been a record as personal and direct and unobscured as these two Sinead O'Connor records, honestly. I don't think there ever has been. And there probably will never be. She was a unique creature. And her uniqueness and her absolute unabashed honesty also basically caused the public to knock her right off her feet after this album came out. Of course, famously, after doing a Bob Marley cover on Saturday Night Live, famously tearing up that photograph of our previous Pope, two popes ago now, John Paul, for covering up and hiding and essentially condoning rampant child molestation in the Catholic Church. Global rampant child molestation. She was protesting at that point. O'Connor was protesting it in Ireland. And the public never forgave her for that. There's a lesson there. You say something that people don't want to hear about religion or guns or something like that, and you're going to be shut down. She was then subsequently, she was booed right off of the stage by a huge portion of the audience right here in New York City at Madison Square Garden just a little bit after that. With or without irony, O'Connor was fucking right. Here we all were at the time, stand-up comedians cracking jokes about the pervy things that go on between priests and choir boys. It's a fucking open secret. And how many tens of thousands over generations of people were sexually abused at the hands of these holy men. And it wasn't until a decade later that I guess it was at the Boston Globe. Anyway, reporters actually started to provide evidence. And since then, the church has paid out billions. Really astounding. But she was fucking right. And we knocked her right off course. And she, as far as I'm concerned, she never was able to recover. She never rose back to the greatness of these two records. And it's a shame. I mean, what would have been if she could have continued on her trajectory? Maybe she wouldn't have made anything else like this. Who knows? Who knows what would have been? But let's just say, in the words of Chris Christopherson, who wrote a song about that night she got booed off of stage, maybe she's crazy, maybe she ain't, but so was Picasso, and so were the saints. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you at the next video, and bye.
Margaret Thatcher on TV, shocked by the deaths that took place in Beijing. It seems strange that she should be offended. The same orders are given by her. I've said this before now. You said I was childish, and you'll say it now. Remember what I told you. in